There we go. Now I should be heard. Hopefully. Let's see. So I'm just trying to check everything and make sure it's working. I should have done this in the first place. Oh, geez. Yeah, there we go. It's going good now. I should be safe. Let's see. Refresh. I'm just trying to get my stuff up, and well, how is everyone doing today? I'm glad to see a few people were actually sitting there waiting for the stream to start up, and I actually have a few friends in Discord who were mentioning they were looking forward to seeing this stream, which again, that's actually a very happy thing to see. Let me see here. I think it's trying to have a completely different live stream go on, so let's take a look at this one. There we go. That's what I was hoping to see. All right, perfect. Then we have our excellent connection, and that's really all I was looking for. So I had a little bit on the list here. Like I've got a little sticky note for my stream agenda as an idea of what specifically to do and well, how I should do it. And so I've got story time, and I've got in that story time, why Japanese? And I feel like that is a question that I could definitely session top tip Billy $30. That is definitely from a test. I promise. There's no Billy who's tipped me. Let's refresh that. Oh, wrong button. I'm looking to refresh. This. There we go. Oh, I've definitely not received a tip from someone named Billy, not to my understanding. But I guess that's just there from Stream Elements. But I mean, where was I going with that? I was going over why Japanese as a question, like why is that the language that I would choose? I mean, I'm even wearing some Japanese stuff on this shirt, which that was completely unintentional for today's stream. Well, I mean, the simple answer to that is because the language ended up interesting me. And like a lot of people who are aware of pop culture, people who are, I guess, invested into it, well, Japanese anime was certainly a contender for the Japanese language for me. But as for why 100% I'm wanting to learn Japanese and become, at the very minimum, conversationally fluent, well, that's a bit of a more complicated answer. I mean, I could say it's because I'm interested in the culture. I want to read manga without having to look at my Google Translate, right? Really, when I boil it down and I try to really think about that and consider it, it honestly ends up being most related to I'd like to communicate with more people, and the Japanese culture fascinates me so much so that I would also enjoy to ask these people questions in their language, in their tongue, and be understood. And I think that's just a really amazing feat. Japanese obviously isn't the only language I have interest in. For example, I speak a little bit of Spanish. I'm barely conversational. Yo hablo español muy poquito. I can speak some very basic sentences. And I mean, the charm in both of those languages, in my experience of learning them, is I'm aiming to visit the places where these languages are spoken and be able to hold a conversation. And I think that's just a respectful thing to do, even for a visitor, is the ability to speak the language of your land and of your people. And that way you can not have to deal with that language barrier. And I mean, as I just keep going over it, it becomes more and more complex. I want to beat the language barrier. I maybe I want to know a language that's seldom spoken in the United States, because, I mean, hey, what if I want to talk about something without feeling like everyone around me is going to be listening? I mean, I live in Arizona, so I can't really do that with Spanish. A lot of people know Spanish in Arizona, and I definitely can't do it with English, because, I mean, that's the most spoken language in the world, or at least in the United States. So Japanese is also kind of up there on the table. It's got its reasons, and well, those are just a few of them. I actually started learning Japanese back in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. If anyone's seen my the work in progress video, like, I had it completely scripted. I had it spoken and voiced over. It was wonderful. It had except for the little clicking in the background. Thank you very much for that, Caden. One of my friends who was over at the time. I was pretty impressed with the outcome of that video, and really, what the goal was with that was to kind of tell my story as well, about why I'm choosing Japanese, how I'm choosing to go about it. And obviously things have changed since then. I chose Japanese because it was at my school, you have to take two electives. I'm pretty sure this is with all or most American high schools. Mine was specifically a private or a public charter. At my public charter, I also took something called a 0 hour. Other schools know it as an A hour, or, you know, it's you show up to school an hour earlier for a class. And I was actually starting to, believe it or not, with this flabby body of mine, I was interested in wanting to do weight training. I wanted to, do lifting of the barbell and bench pressing. That was definitely my most favorite thing to do within that class. And so with that weight lifting, with that weight training, it brought me a lot of joy. And unfortunately, for reasons I won't get into, because frankly, I don't know, my teacher there was, I don't think he was necessarily fired, but he was moved away from that experience of the, he was moved away from being that PE teacher. He was moved to, I think he was a math teacher. So that explains that short bit. Hey there, Thicky. Welcome to the stream. How you doing, my guy? How you doing? It's first time you've caught my YouTube streams. I've seen you in my Twitch ones before. Doing YouTube right now because Twitch keeps crashing, and YouTube's evidently doing quite well. I'm maintaining a 60 frames per second at, looks like, over 4,300 kilobytes per second, which is a pretty good bit rate. But yeah, basically, for the first semester of my senior year of my 12th grade in high school, I was taking weight training, weightlifting, as that 0 hour elective, so that I could leave the school like an hour earlier than everyone else. That was really the main incentive there. And well, if you want to know my max, I think my maximum that I was able to press was like a 180, I want to say, thereabout. It wasn't anything super impressive in my opinion, but it was about, at the time, about half my weight. I've actually lost 30 pounds thereabout since then, so I don't think I could lift that right now, because after that semester, when everything ended, I haven't been consistent at all with my bench presses. I think last time I went to the gym, I tried a bench press and I was maxing at like what is it, usually like a 20-pound bar, and then I had 25 on each, so that's 50, 60, 70 pounds, which isn't light at all, but it's still not my best. Going back on topic, I needed to take something, and I actually, the semester previous, like before this happened up. You dropped a sub, but it's not showing? That's rude. How rude of it. I appreciate it, my guy. Well, I'll have to look into that and do some troubleshooting, because I mean it definitely should be. Let's see your stream elements. I'm testing this new thing out. It's called Stream Elements because well, just the basic issues with Streamlabs right now. And so I moved over to OBS Studio, and everything I had was Streamlabs based. So I am now using Stream Elements because, well, they're one of the companies that Streamlabs kind of ripped off in some areas. So I've been trying to use them for my notifications. It's a little upsetting to see that it's not giving you the notification, but very much though, thank you for that sub. Did I deadlift at all? Yeah, I did a little bit of deadlifting. It was not my favorite thing to do though. Most specifically, I did like the power lifts. I would bring it up and then whoo. Those were my least favorite to do because I mean, I was a chubby kid. I'm still a chubby guy, but I was even more so back in high school. And I mean, the thing with it that was really annoying was my habits. It was almost like a ritual every single morning for my 0-hour class. So at my school, we actually bought out an old grocery store and we built the school into that grocery store. It was kind of cool. But right across, like in the parking lot of that old grocery store, was a little gas, like, convenience store. It's a gas station convenience store. And every single morning I would walk on in and I would buy Mountain Dew Game Fuel as an energy, 2 of them actually. I got the blue and the red because I liked both of them equally. I got a Dr. Pepper, like a bottled Dr. Pepper. Then I got a sour candy. It was typically the Sweetheart Sprees, if you know those. I don't know how popular those are out of the United States, out of Arizona for that matter. And then sometimes if I was feeling like extra spendy, I would buy like a bag of Doritos or Funyuns. And well, dang. I would eat all of those, half of them before, or yeah, like right before the 0 hour. And then right after my 0 hour, when I would have burnt all of that off, because I didn't eat breakfast at all. I kind of considered that my breakfast. Right after that, I would finish everything else. So I kind of negated everything. Let's see, are you asking what's my max with deadlifting? Honestly, I think my max was 80 to 90 pounds. I like the power lift. So like I went above my head. I have much higher, a much higher max with my squats. I think I was able to actually pull about, it was 40 pounds over my weight at the time. So we say 260, I was lifting 300 through the squats, which I was pretty prideful of that because not a lot of other people could do that. I've always kind of considered myself to have strong legs. Looking back on it, I had horrible form, and that explains why my back hurt like all through that semester. But dang, I had a lot of fun with that class because I also had one of my best friends at the time. His name is Caden. He was also a member of that class, and we would be very competitive with each other. he would raise up the bench press by 5 pounds. I would raise it up by 10. He would go up by another 5. I would raise it up by another 10, or try to meet at the very least. Let's see here, 90 pounds in kilos, 92 kg. That's about 41 kilograms. Leg presses, no, I might we didn't actually have anything set up for leg presses. What is the chat doing? That's weird. Oh wait, hold on, I'm onto something. I've never seen that. I wonder if that's the notification I've been trying to. Let's try changing the resolution here of this to 700. Nope, that didn't do any. Oh, that just changed it into my chat. All right. I'm just going to remove that for now since that's not what I'm looking for. Yo, welcome in, Sony. I thought you said you had work. Huh? How are you doing? How is everyone doing? I'm really glad that you managed to make it. I was only a little bit into my story time before I went off on a bit of a tangent. But basically, where we were going with it was I was into bench pressing and a little bit of deadlifting, though that wasn't my favorite. I had like a maximum of 300 pounds in the squats, and then it was like 180 in the bench press. Inclined, I would be about 120. You just got home. You come home and then immediately like, oh, gotta get on Xander's stream. Let's go. I appreciate it. I appreciate it for sure. But so one of the problems with this story, like where everything is going, is I only had that for one semester. Technically it was for one full year. I believe no, it was only for one semester. And that was the first half of my senior year. And after that first half, the teacher mysteriously disappeared from the PE scene. Oh, 150 kilos and 245s on, or 245 on legs. That sounds like it's a lot in American freedom units. Squats. Yeah, they weren't my favorite at all, but it was something I was unfortunately good at. Dummy thighs and I don't know, not really. You would think, but no. I mean, I do have thunder thighs, don't get me wrong. But they ain't dummy. And my ass is pretty bony. Oh geez, but that teacher, he wasn't teaching the weight training class anymore. And the problem, or like the reason, it wasn't super sudden actually. So he was showing up less and less, and I think it was related to, honestly, he would start the class late regularly. So I think he was either relocated or maybe he was looking for employment elsewhere. I can't really speak for it. Nope, you're all good, my guy. But essentially where everything went was suddenly the history teacher was teaching the class, and it wasn't really a weight training class anymore. It was then more of just PE, you know. You take every letter of the alphabet, and then you assign a like 15 squats, 100 push-ups, 60-second planks, or 30-second wall sits times 5 reps, you know, all of that set dependent on the letter of the alphabet. And to some of you who don't know, my full name is Alexander. And she said, you have to use your full name, not your nickname. So I didn't like the class at that point because, well, I have both a long name and a name with just too many letters, or some of the more uncommon letters like X, and then technically, if you want to go into it, Z as well, because she was like, maybe I could throw the Z in there, and I was like, please no. But Mrs. Foster was her name, and she's amazing. She's an amazing teacher, and I had a lot of fun. But after that semester ended, I couldn't sign up for that class anymore. I tried to, because I was like, okay, well, I'd like to go back and I'd like to do my bench presses again. And I mean, the yoga in between was a little fun, right? It was nice to stretch out and relax for a day, for a morning. And well, that didn't happen. Instead, they were like, okay, well, everyone who was supposed to be signed up for weight training, you're now automatically signed up for math lab. And the problem with math lab is it's intended for students at my school, at least, who haven't, or who are maybe behind on in math, or need to get another math credit. I already had all of my math credits. I'm not good at math by any means, and that's why I chose to take a credit at community college. I failed, but I was like, you know what? I need to take this credit because the way my school worked, community college, a D was roughly equal to a C for the school, so I got away with it. I mean, that explains that. I didn't need math lab at all. But the teacher for math lab happened to be both the Algebra 1 teacher, so the freshman math teacher, and she had an elective called Introduction to Japanese. And I was actually not super interested in Japanese at that time. Initially, what happened, or like my knowledge on Japanese was just what animes did I watch back in senior year initially. Like, this is really when I started becoming more of like a weeb. I mean, I had Konosuba under my belt. That was definitely when I first started watching it. But I think before then, really all I had was Sword Art Online and Pokemon. I watched the dubs. I was a filthy dubber instead of a subber. Now I'm sub. Dubs are a little, I don't like them. They're very cringe now. I've yet to come across a dub that does everything like flawlessly. One of my favorite animes, Seiyaki Kitsune no Senko-san, or The Helpful Fox Senko-san. I tried watching the dub on Funimation because I was curious. It's horrible. It does not sound anything like I would expect a English speaking Senko to sound like, and it completely removed her character dynamic. Did you just call it? What do you mean Xander's a sub now? What? What do you mean, huh? Tell me, Sony. I'm gonna bully you if you don't. Let's go. Sonia-san. Oh, jeez. But that was a very very interesting dub experience. I tried watching it. I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes, first 10 minutes, honestly, of that of the episode. And this is the very first episode, and I know it pretty well. I've rewatched the anime multiple times because Senko, best fox girl. So I mean, there's that. There's my anime background. I didn't have much of one. Wow, just giving me a smirk emoji. That's a little rude, Sony. So yeah, Sword Art Online. I mean, I remember coming to my teacher, and she had a background in, she wasn't super fluent in Japanese, as in like near native at all. But she was definitely, she had some of it under her belt, and she had a love for the culture and for the people and for the nation. And she was initially actually a Japanese English teacher, so she was through the JET program, where, you know, you can pass a JPLT, I believe, and then you are assigned to a school in Japan to teach English, basically, for X amount of time. And that's a very cool. Oh, no data. No data. Did I drop? Sorry, I'm monitoring my stream's information on the side panel here. I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay, good. I have not dropped. But yes, she had a bit of a background, and I thought that was cool in the first place. And at the time, I wasn't really interested in becoming a Japanese English teacher myself. At the time, I was really interested in, honestly, computer sciences. I wanted to be a game developer, even more so then than I do now, for reasons that I kind of went over in the previous. You hear me? Like, are you agreeing with something I said, or are you saying that my video is not moving. But anyway, oh geez, it's a lot of where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought for a moment there. I wasn't super interested in the language at all until I was like, well, I need something to do in this class. She said, I was like, I already have my math credit. Can I just sleep? And she was like, no, I need something to grade you on for this class. And she was like, figure something out as long as you're doing something. And I was like, I had fun learning Spanish. How about that? And she was like, you know, I teach the Japanese elective. And I was like, you know, I actually kind of wanted to be in that because I like language learning. And she was like, I have some materials. And that's really how it started. She gave me practice sheets and she gave me, let me see if I can find it really quick. It's called Writing Japanese, and it's this old book from the 70s, but she got it off of Amazon for like $5. Let me run and grab it really quick. I need to show it. Here it is. I'm just gonna put my headphones on just because that's monitoring my my audio. But it's called Reading Japanese, and it's by Amako Ito Chaplin. And Eleanor Hars Jordan. And this book, I haven't read it completely at all. But the first everything here goes over. Let's see here. The first thing they teach me in here is Katakana. And Katakana is the script they use for mostly like foreign borrowed words. Oh wow, that showed my rings really bad. It's mostly used as like foreign borrowed words, but it's also used within sentences to break up different words, make it easier to read. Like kitsune can be written in really all three scripts, but it's most commonly seen in the katakana form, from what I've seen at least. But yeah, it's the more angular script, and I was also using Duolingo at the time, and so I had a rocky start. I was learning. I believe the first script I learned was hiragana. And like as I was going through it, I was writing like my name in hiragana, and she was like, you should be using katakana for that. And I was like, there's more? You're telling me there's a whole other alphabet? And so that's when she gave me that Reading Japanese book. I learned hiragana from practice sheets and Duolingo, and then katakana from the Reading Japanese book. I learned all the sounds mostly through that book. I was looking at it and seeing like, oh, ka, and stuff like that, but it also has similar vowel sounds to like Spanish, like hola, ¿cómo está? Me llamo Xander. Whereas it's like konnichiwa, genki desu ka? Namae wa Xanda-san. And my Japanese is still very broken because I'm not even N5. I don't know. I'm still beginner. And I'm taking real, like, legitimate classes now at my local college, at my community college. But where I was going with that is, excuse me. Well, that was where it really all started. Is I was reading this book every single day. I was doing some lessons through Duolingo, and I had this stigma of do not proceed to the next lesson until you get the golden completion mark. And so I did, and I was actually going through really quickly. I was learning to say stuff like "Ego ga hanasemasu ka?" I was learning pitch accent just through listening to the god-awful Duolingo. And along the line, she's in here right now. Her name is Sony Bean. I eventually met her through a mutual friend. When I was asking around, I was like, hey, you're also learning some Japanese, right? Maybe I could bounce some ideas off of you, yeah? maybe you can help me. And she eventually, she was the third party. I was like, what the heck is this kanji? And why does it sound like, I can't tell if it's neji, reiji, weiji, because of the way it was being pronounced through Duolingo. That's like the most prominent thing I remember from it. And then eventually she was just like, why don't I just give you her Discord? And so that's how I met my friend who can speak Japanese. But really, I mean, it's been a self-learning journey from there. I've just been trying to get as good as I can, partially because, I mean, I'd like to watch an anime without needing to watch or look at the subtitles. I'd like to read some Japanese text. I'd like to look at a Japanese news article. But most specifically, I want to visit one day. I want to go and spend a week or two with my friends, go check out some onsens and look through Tokyo, Kyoto, and just, have fun, have the tourist life. But more realistically, I want to be able to communicate, and I want to be able to be more confident in my people skills when I'm in Japan. I'd like to go to a ramen shop and be able to say more confidently, like, oh yes, I would like the yakisoba, please, even though ramen shop yakisoba kind of, they probably serve it at some of them. I don't know. I've never been to Japan. But I mean, that's really the fun stuff there. So why Japanese? The short version is, well, because I want to visit, and because I like learning languages. And the long version, that was the entire story. Self-learning is a very, very tedious process, and you need to have a lot of self-discipline. And that's something that I actually lack, which is why I presently, within the last 8 days, signed up for a class. Japanese learning, or language learning in general. So I don't hear this comparison very often. You'll never forget the reiji. Yeah. Gozen reiji means midnight. It's literally gozen is morning, AM, and then reiji I think is 12, but midnight. I don't know the exact translation, and that's a lot of Japan right there. A lot of, not Japan, Japanese is, there's no exact translation to English, or at least there's no proper translation to English. Apparently, dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu doesn't have like a direct meaning in English. It's really like a, oh, please treat me well, I think is what my professor kind of likened it to. It's like, because Japan historically was a very I don't want to say isolation, or like maybe isolated, with the small villages in between. So when you go to visit and when you go to intermingle, you want to be like, let's have this good relationship right from the get-go. Which honestly I think is a really, really enjoyable way to like imagine that and remember it. But where was I going with that? The world will never know. I have the mental span of a monkey. So yeah, looking at my agenda here, story time, why Japanese? So we went over that. I threw in the story about weightlifting and that kind of stuff, which, I mean, who knows? Maybe someone enjoys that kind of stuff other than Thicky. I know Thicky enjoyed it. That wasn't the primary intention of the video of the story time though, just because maybe I was saving that for a future story time. I don't know. It takes a lot of me to just sit down and I'm like, what should I do for my next story time? I could tell them about why I dropped out of college. No, I already told them that in the last stream that kept going like up, down, up, down, up, down. Oh, geez. All right. So this is where I kind of want to segue into the Japanese review. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I haven't plotted any of this out in my mind. I think I just wanted to go over the different I guess kind of grammar rules. So you have wa, which looks like ha. I did not think this through. All right. Hold on. I've got some idea here. Let's go to, let's type that into Google and see if I can get an image of the letter. Yes. Do not search this letter up on Google because you get some really freaky stuff. All right. But so this is a transparent image. It might not work very well, but let's save image as, and then where's my image button? Ha. Alrighty, and then we browse to my desktop, and then there it is. Okay, so forgive the JPEG, but so we'll start with wa, or ha, as the letter is pronounced as, like, you know, part of a word. So you have hachi for the number 8. You have hajimemashite. You have I'm putting myself on the spot here. You have hai, like yes. You have ohayo, where ha is in there. So ha is a common letter, and so it is also a unique letter from my understanding so far as a beginner in Japanese. It can also be pronounced as wa, but that's most typically used as a in-between particle, or a like, you know, you're setting something as the subject. So like watashi wa, I am. Or you have konnichiwa. I don't know the specific reasoning behind that. I think that's honestly just one of those just that's just how it is moments. But what I've noticed is it's almost never pronounced as wa when it's in the beginning or in the middle of a word. It's almost always either when it's at the end. So when, I guess at the end it becomes more voiced, I guess is the way to put it, and when it's used as a subject marker. So watashi wa Zanda-san desu. So I just said like I am Xander-san. Des is keigo. It means basically I am. Like I could say Zanda desu and it makes perfect sense. Informal mixed with formal because I didn't put the honorific in, but that's a different tangent. But so there's a very specific, I guess, order to everything here, or not order, but a grammatical structure here. And what I'm trying to get at is we have, let's see here. Let's get it all written up in front of everyone. You have X, and then no wa, Y des. And so when we take a look at this, we'll get rid of that for now. X wa Y des. So X wa Y des is you have X being your subject, Y being like, I guess further clarification on the subject. So when you're saying X wa Y this, sorry, it keeps snapping and I'm trying to find a good place for it. We'll just stop touching it. X wa Y this, so that I literally just gave you guys that example of watashi wa zanda desu, or zanda san desu, or you have other examples like let's say, dang it, I can't give that example because no is for the next part of this. I'm just putting myself on the spot here. Tanashi-san wa, or Takeshi-san wa gakusei desu. So Takashi is a student. And I mean, X, Y, Y is, it is pretty straightforward when you really get into it. I'm trying to put it in a way that like absolute beginners who haven't had the background of Genki or other YouTubers, I'm trying to get it in that context to where everyone can understand it. I guess the easiest way for me to put X, Y, Y this is X is the subject, Y is the clarification. So we'll say in English, for X, it is Y. For X, it is Y. So I am Xander. For Xander, it is I. It's a weird way to put it, but I think that's honestly the clearest way for me to put it. Then there's another, I guess it's a particle letter in Japanese that I've recently learned. Well, I've known of, but I more specifically learned it in the recent days, and that is, hold on, doop, and then that is no, right there. So no is a very versatile letter. It is not only used in a lot of words that I can't think of any off the top of my head. Don't ask me, because I mean it's just a letter. You know, you have no, you have ne, pahi huheho, or yeah, it's not a hard H, but you got me. This is a overview, I suppose, a review. But so the cool thing about no is it can also be applied in this X, Y, or X, yeah, X and Y kind of format. So we'll go ahead and add this to the end. X no Y this. So we'll put it right here for now and make it a little smaller. There we go. So X no Y des. When you look at X no Y des, it is very similar to X Y Y, but it's no, in this case, in most cases, acts as a possessive. So in English, we have that apostrophe S, so it's like Xander's. Like you hear that that is implying that it belongs to me. So Xander's car, Xander's telephone number, for the sake of later example. We have Xander's teacher. So X, Y, or X no Y ends up being like Zanda no sensei desu, Xander's teacher. Or Zanda-san no sensei desu. When Japanese becomes math formulas, I mean, that's a really true way to put it, though. It's just the way that this works. So you have X no Y this. So you're Zanda-san no sensei desu, Xander's teacher, quite literally. Or you have Sonia no Neko desu. That is Sony's cat. I'm pretty sure that there's another way to put that. I don't know how grammatically correct that sentence was, but it works for the sake of example, I think. Again, I'm no teacher here. This is a student trying to reciprocate his learnings. But so the really cool thing, and this isn't something that's like explicitly put out in Genki from what I read. This is something that I figured out on my own just through reading practice, is if I go ahead and open up another text element here, All right, we have X no Y wa Z des. So I think I might have that order, or like that out of order. Sorry, let's get everything snapped together here. That might be out of order. X no Y wa Z. But so it is this. It basically is a formula. This is a complete sentence right here. It says X is Y as the, so for Z, X belongs to Y, essentially. So, or another way to put it, I think I actually might have that backwards. Let's see here. Watashi no sensei wa. Well, this could work, yeah. So you could be like watashi no, which means instead of I am, it is my, basically. Watashi no sensei, which is your teacher. So watashi no sensei wa as that little, the subject marker. So your teacher is the subject. And then for Z, you can be like, oki desu. That's probably not a good way to put that at all, but I could be saying my teacher is oki, big. I'm really bad at giving these examples, but that might be, who knows, maybe that's a way to remember. Don't go up to your teacher and say they're big. I'm pretty sure, same within English, if you call them big, they're gonna think you're calling them fat, and that's insulting in every culture. So don't do that. But I mean, that's how you can do that. And I mean, you could even expand further if you really wanted to. All right, we're gonna go a little crazy here with test 4 as the name of this one, and we'll say X, or so for, we'll start with W no Y, or X, sorry, Y no Z des. All right, so ooh, that's a big element that's overlapping everything. All right, we'll put it right here. W no X wa Y no Z des. This Japanese is so fun because of the fact that once you get these basic concepts down of X wa Y and then X no Y, then you can realize that you can do X no Y wa Z and then W no X wa Y no Z. No is unlike English, all right? In English, when you keep saying this is, it becomes repetitive and it sounds monotonous. But in Japanese, according to what my teacher said today when I asked him this question, the introduction of no isn't, you can use it many times in a sentence without it sounding incorrect. So W no X wa Y no Z. So we'll start with Takeshi no oka-san wa koko no sensei desu. I almost said gakusei. So I forgot the name, so I'll say Takeshi no oka-san. So that's Takeshi's mother. Wa. So that subject is Takeshi's mother. Koko no sensei desu. And so I just said Takeshi's mother is a high school teacher. Now, something important to keep a note of here. I couldn't say Takeshi no oka-san wa sensei no koko desu. That wouldn't make sense. And the way to remember that is if we take a look to the one right above it, to X no Y wa Z desu, then if you were to just cover up the extra no, right? So you just have WXZ, you skip Y. Would it make sense to say Takeshi's mom is a high school? It wouldn't. So that helps you figure out the order. You have to say it specifically as Takeshi no oka-san wa koko no sensei desu, because you can take out that koko clarification there and make it just Takeshi's mother is a teacher. That still makes sense. So that's some of what I really wanted to push and share, because that's stuff that I figured out recently that I think is really amazing to share with other people, because maybe some people don't understand it, because Japanese is a daunting language. I mean, literally, I've been learning it for 2 years, and I still can't go to my local Japanese restaurant, like it's family run. I think they said that they're from Japan. I hear them talking to each other in Japanese all the time. I can't go there and order in Japanese. I mean, because I don't know the language enough. So when you're looking at this, sorry, I'm just gonna correct that for the sake of my OCD. I don't think it's OCD. I don't know the proper terms, but I need that to look close to the same. I can't do that yet, but I'm slowly getting there. I'm slowly getting towards that conversational that conversational level that I'm seeking. And by showing this to other people, I think it really helps anyone who might have that same ambition to want to do the same thing. So again, we have the X, Y, Y, wa being the subject marker. So it's going to be in the middle of the later W no X, Y no Z. Again, I'm just going to keep looking back to this because Sodi's so right. When Japanese becomes math formulas because of the X and Y equals MX plus B. And it's an amazing thing to me. And I have so much fun learning Japanese because when you get these aha moments, you almost need to humble yourself and be like, whoa, I know so much now. Maybe I can go speak to a native Japanese and have a fluent conversation on day 3. No, you need to be humbled, but it's definitely, this is the building block to the language for proper sentence structure. And I'm sure that there are many other rules to get to, but this is just what I know right now. And for the sake of forming my very simple introductions, like, はじめまして、こんにちは。私の名前はザンダーさんです。専攻は日本語です。Right? I can also go over アリゾナ出身です。アメリカ人です。Right? So I just said hello. Or like, it's a pleasure. Hello, my name is Xander. I major in Japanese language, and what was the last thing I said? Oh yeah, I'm from Arizona. I am an American. And then you would end up with dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu, as a very polite, like, as mentioned earlier, you know, the whole please do well by me, I'll do well by you kind of comparison. I don't know that it was an exact translation at all. I'm pretty sure that was when he was talking about not exact at all. I guess that's really the long and short of it all here, is I wanted to go over just that subject because I'm so excited by it. I have so much fun with it because when you look at a Japanese sentence, a sentence in Japanese written in kana, it's daunting. You're looking at it and it looks like a whole jumble of foreign letters, foreign characters, and I mean that's what it is. But once you figure out the sentence structure, you can start picking out individual words, and you can start really getting a feel for how to say things. Like earlier today in class, actually, let's get these out of the way. Earlier today in class, there was a student, a fellow classmate, who she's been struggling with the kana. But when I kind of went over the same thing with her, I mean, we were learning it, of course, in class, but I mean, when I went over it the way that I kind of process it, she suddenly was able to, when we were doing our reading practice, because I mean, it's class number 2 and we're already expected to know the kana. She's struggling a bit, but she was freaking out because she was just sounding out everything, thinking that it's like one continuous monotonous word. But once she figured out the grammar rules from what I showed her, everything started making a whole lot more sense. Her pronunciation sounded a lot better for a day 2 student. And I just think that's really one of the amazing things about language learning is when you get those aha moments and things start making sense and feeling fluid and natural, you really know that you're on the right path. And so that's really what I wanted to go over today for my little 1-hour stream. Just that little story time, that little crash course. If that's something that my viewers here enjoyed, then I really would like doing this more often, especially as like I learn more, because I feel like when I learn something and then I try to reteach it to try and review it for everyone else, not only is it benefiting me by helping me to reinforce my knowledge, and I mean, if there's anyone who's a little more I can't think of the word, knowledgeable in the language, then they can give me a correction. I think it's really important to help me reinforce and learn that way. And then on the same token, people who are interested and want some entry level understanding to the language, I mean, you can be ahead right away by doing basically what I did. I literally just went around to a bunch of different classes, right? When I say classes, I mean Duolingo. I was self-teaching, and I was doing everything I can on my own to really reinforce this different knowledge. I didn't have any partners to practice with. I mean, I had Sony here, but I didn't. I haven't been very consistent in communicating with her, and I mean, part of that's because I'm too low of a level to have a proper conversation. I think the extent of our conversations in Japanese are genki dayo, yeah, that kind of stuff. Or I don't think dayo is proper, but or correct, but just that kind of idea. But anyway, it's about 6:12. I think it's time to go ahead and wrap this up, because now I'm just talking in circles, ain't I? And I really did have a lot of fun, though, going over this whole just amazing language. I really do hope to one day be conversationally fluent, and maybe even closer to native speaking. Japanese, it's a really pretty language, and again, one of the reasons I want to learn it is to communicate, to be able to say that I've conquered a language that's nothing like my own. The only similarity it has is sometimes the order is the same, but other times it's jumbled. You can have like the subject in the middle of a sentence after you have the details at the beginning, and I think that's how a lot of these sentences are structured. So I'm just really excited. When Japanese becomes math, what do you mean you're JK? What? Did you say something? Did it get censored? All I see is I'm JK. When the Japanese becomes math formulas, I'm JK. What are you joking about, Sonia? Eh? What you doing? Jeez. I've also really enjoyed having this lo-fi in the background. I think it actually really goes really nicely with the theme here. I'd also like to see some I guess feedback on everything here. If you enjoyed what I did here, then I'll do it more often for sure, because I'll get to reinforce my knowledge and to give other people an introduction. But on the same token, I have a lot of passion for the language, and I also have a bit of a passion for streaming. So let's hear. Is it only viewable on the YouTube stream? Send me a screenshot to it. I'm so curious, because I mean, I'm looking at both the stream come in, like the stream. So I've got the chat from the YouTube stream in two places right now. Neither of them show you. I'm curious. You're joking about what? But geez. I have had fun, and I will continue to have fun as long as my audience still exists to have that fun with me. I want to move away from being a constant gaming streamer, and maybe I can iron out my details here and become a YouTube streamer. I've kind of always wanted to do it. The only reason I started on Twitch is because I felt like I needed a fresh start, because I have 186 subscribers right now. I've had about 185 for 2 years. I have not been active on YouTube, and part of the reason for that is because I used to just do regular videos, and I've never been a fan of editing on the fly. Editing my videos. Oh, you said nah, Japanese sucks. Yeah, they probably censored it because they thought you were probably bullying someone. I don't know. Yeah, YouTube's weird, man. YouTube is so weird. I'll send you a picture right back. See, you got bam. But where was I going with that? I don't fully remember. I guess I was just going over. I enjoy the language. I enjoy talking about it, and I enjoy engaging in it. And as far as the streaming side of things go, I think I want to make my comeback to YouTube. This being that comeback, especially because YouTube seems to be handling my streaming a lot better. Friggin' Twitch just keeps. I'll try watching something and then it'll just be like up, down, oh, streamed down, up, hello everyone, down. You know, I can't do that, and it spams everyone. So I figured this would be a good way to kind of, return. You're my number one supporter, Zandaku. I'm your number one supporter, Zanda-kun. I appreciate that very much, Sonia-kun. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you guys very much for watching this stream, and if you did like it, then I would really appreciate my channel being shared around, the subscribe button being pressed, the like button. My childhood dream with this channel was to grow larger than PewDiePie, and while that's not likely, I would still like to kind of see out my childish dreams, right? I think I can do it in YouTube. I just need the inspiration to do so. So those shares, those likes, those comments, and those subscriptions will really give me that that drive to keep going and to push for that. So anything will help. It is very much so appreciated. I'll go ahead and take a look at the stream ending page here. Alrighty, so you'll see my schedule. I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now from 5 p.m. To a nondescript time. Streams like this, I really only want to push for an hour 15 maximum, just because it's just me talking, and I know my talking bores people, right? So that's all that this stream would be. But maybe if it was a gaming stream, it'd be an hour. 2 hours, maybe 2.5, 3. So it's only got the start times on the schedule. I really do appreciate everyone for being here, for watching, for chatting, and I look forward to catching you guys in my next one on Monday. Again, thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful night. I guess,